this is Jenna from Click Report, and I am going to do a tutorial for you of our Arizona Smart Template on the Click Report Speech website. Okay, so that Smart Template is located under our articulation section. And I'm going to walk you through a few different features of this and give you some tips and tricks for working with this Smart Template. So I know most people don't actually report all of these different sections. You can if you want to. But in general, the way that this is going to work, whatever your battery you gave or whatever you want to report, you're going to click that checkbox, and then our table is going to change based on that selection. And then the next section asks you to check boxes for noted areas if you had scores below 86. So if you had scores below 86 and you're seeing these different error patterns, you're going to make those selections, and it's going to show up in your narrative, which I'll show you in just a second. Okay, so after we've done that, on our table, you can see that it's going to start out as the greater than or equal to 100 and greater than or equal to 50 because, as you guys know, this score does not go above that, and that is how we report scores above 100. So as you make your changes, you can either use this up and down arrow, or you can just backspace out and use your keypad to put in your standard score. As you can see, our percentile rank and our severity range is going to change immediately with putting that score in. You're not going to have to go back to a lookup table or anything like that. This is going to be automatic for you. And I'm going to make these both, I'm going to make one within the severe range, and then we'll keep one within normal limits just so I can show you the difference within our narrative for those two sections. So now at this point, you're going to go ahead and put in your examinee name and make your gender selection and generate your narrative. The top part of our narrative is just going to be actually talking about the measure itself. So it's going to talk about what the Arizona is, what it's assessing, and what an average score looks like. So the next section of that is going to actually list out what our table is saying. So this is that output, and this is going to change based on your table. So this says Jenna earned a standard score of 70 on the word articulation test, which indicates a score in the severe range. Obviously, that's going to change. So if it was within normal limits, as you can see in this next section, that is what that narrative is going to reflect. And then it says Jenna presented with error patterns that are outlined in more detail below. And you can see the same for our sentence articulation. And this is going to have a 90, just like in our table. And then this one was within normal limits. So all that information carried over. And then also, because this wasn't a score within a concerning range, it will have this sentence that the examinee produced all phonemes accurately during this standardized test, and that they were able to produce these targeted phonemes aloud. So now it goes into what we selected for our noted areas of concern. And you can see that it's going to give a little definition for this so that your parent can read this and see exactly what that means. So this is kind of the way that our Arizona template works. You can see that everything you put over here in the table is going to carry over to this narrative for you. And after I have all this information and it looks good, I'm going to take this information and paste it into my report by clicking this copy table button and going over to wherever I write my reports and pasting the table. As you can see, everything carried over. And then from this point too, I'm able to make any changes I need to this table or add any information that I need to. And then same thing with our narrative. Once you take this narrative, you're going to copy the narrative and paste it over. And you can add any of your clinical interpretations. You can add any information. You can also take off information. So if something just doesn't make sense for your case, you can totally remove it. You can change what the errors actually were so that it makes sense and you're actually reporting exactly what that examinee said for their conversational sample. So yeah, lots of different options to make everything very custom for you. And then the only other thing I want to point out about this Smart Template is that we did embed this phonological processing tool button here. And that is because I know a lot of people have asked to be able to quickly go over to that, because a lot of times when they're looking at articulation, they're also looking at these phonological processes in tandem. So we wanted to make it a quick way just to jump over to this different one. So there is a different instructional video specific to this Smart Template. So I hope you guys will check that out too. And thanks for giving this a watch.